Welcome to the Guide, Not Guru podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Brock. My purpose is to empower women to create authentic, aligned, and abundant lives. After over a decade of mentoring women in business and self-leadership, I found that we don't need to adopt a guru's blueprint. We need guides to help us build our own. So if you're ready to lead and be a work in progress, you've come to the right place. Okay, today is going to be a fun episode because I'm coming to you in real time at the moment of this recording, talking about a few lessons that I've already learned from missing one of the biggest manifestations I've tried to go for in my life, which is $100,000 revenue in 1 month. So as of right now, it's November 3rd when I'm recording this. And in the month of October, I was believing for and trusting and knowing that we were going to have our first 6-figure month in the Kelly Brock Co. business. And I want to tell you about why I believe that I missed it. Because there were several lessons that in the last 3 days I've been able to just, it's funny, these actually just landed for me, and it's why I'm doing this episode, because I thought, okay, I want to make sure I record this right when it's landing for me, because I'm still in the energy of like, there's the epiphany. So for those of you who don't know what the word manifestation means, manifestation just means to make real. So we all have dreams, we have inspirations, we have insight, we have all of these things that are up here in our mind. And to manifest something means to make real, to bring it into your reality. It's a real, tangible, physical thing. It's to make physical, to make real, okay? So I want to tell you, over the last year, and specifically in the last 6 months, I have been working really, really intentionally on healing some money wounds and healing my relationship around money and learning how to receive rather than to make money. It's been this whole new way of being successful and bringing money into my world. So I've been working on my intuition, building this business over the last almost 3 years. We've been building Kelly Brock Co. And I have to tell you where I used to be in order to make context for why some of the lessons that I learned was important. So before this business that I was running, I was in network marketing for 10 years. And in network marketing, every single month you have a new goal. And it is how many people joined your team, how many products did you sell, how much revenue did you and your team do? It's all very specific and numbers focused, and it was every 30 days for 10 years. And so I learned how to make things happen by, making things happen. And there would be moments where things would happen inspired, but for the most part, I was always thinking, how can I make this happen? It was always by my own power. It was always by my own ability, by my own influence, by my own charisma, by my own time, money, energy. And as I've been, studying miracles and energy and just faith and belief and all these big things, I started to realize, oh my gosh, there's this whole other way of making your dreams happen by learning to receive them. And it's a more feminine way. If you've ever heard of feminine or masculine energy, masculine is I will make it happen. I will do. It's structured. It's clear. It's forward energy. And then feminine energy, think about it. A woman, she receives. It's I'm open. I'm available. It's flowy. It's receiving. It's joyful. It's magnetic. And so when I went into my new business, Kelly Brock Co., and I started to lead all of this, all I knew was I just knew how I wanted to feel every day. I knew that every single day I wanted to head towards the vision of the future that I saw at that moment in time, the vision that God had given me access to. And I knew that I wanted to feel good every single day, that I wanted to feel aligned with the life that I was living. And so I moved into this, not knowingly, I moved into a very feminine way of business, which is, what am I feeling, seeing, hearing, knowing? How can I receive? It was less about hitting any goals. So for the last almost 3 years, I have never had a monthly goal. When people were like, what are you going to do in the next year? I'm like, more than last year. Like there was no number I needed to feel successful, because I had done that for so long. I didn't know how to hold numbers and goals in that way, in a healthy way, in this new business. So it was almost like I swung to the other side, just saying, listen, if I love my life and I'm happy with who I'm being every single day, and I'm making an impact and I'm feeling how I want to feel, then I'm making it. And honestly, I was so much more profound than I even knew I was. I was just like, I just want to be happy every day. So I just started building, speaking, teaching, creating programs based on when they arrived to me. I got a download. Now I have a new program. I feel inspired. And I started to realize, oh, I'm doing these things that actually open me up for more inspiration to come through me. And so I have built a very successful business, manifesting, again, making real. I had a multiple six-figure career my very first year in business. Our second year in business, we did over $500,000. This year in business, like, I still believe we're going to be $1 million business by the end of this calendar year. So all those things just kind of happened because I was just staying in alignment with the version of myself that I wanted to be. Okay. So over the last few months, and at the beginning of September, I told Kesley, my business manager, I was like, Kesley, I have been doing so much work around money, and specifically around having a bigger business and the level of leadership, and being a woman who's worthy of holding that amount of money, trusting myself with large amounts of money. I had to do a lot of healing around that because I had plenty of past evidence and history to say, like, you can't be trusted. So I've done a lot. And I know in the future I will be creating programs and certainly having episodes around some of the money healing things that I've done, because I feel so different about money than I used to. I'm like, wow, like there really is this other way. Okay, so September came and I said, Kesley, I'm feeling it. I said, it's either September, October, or November, but I know we are hitting $100,000. And September, it wasn't there. And it was just like, okay. So October came, October 1st, I messaged her and I'm like, Kesley, it's $100,000. I know we're having $100,000 month. And she just looked at me and smiled and she's like, okay. And I was like, it's going to happen. I know it. And you guys, October 1st, I need to tell you, a week and a half before that, I flew to California, met Marianne Williamson. It was in this private event that I got to spend time with her. And as I was flying home, I told Kesley before I flew, I'm just like such in real time talking to you guys about this. Before I flew there, I said, I know by the time I fly home, whatever idea is brewing in me is going to land. Meaning whatever thing I'm starting to sense a new program is coming. And I was like, I know by the time I land, I'm going to have clarity on it. I just know it because I'm able to now sense these kinds of things. So sure as heck, flying home on, I think it was like the 30th of the month, I'm flying home. And I fly home and the entire program of A New Reality lands for me. I knew word by word, I knew the song, I knew the program. I wrote all this stuff down on my 5-hour flight. So I landed, pick up the phone, call Kesley. I'm like, it's landed, be ready, let's go. So October 1st, we start knowing that in about 12 days or 14 days, we were going to launch A New Reality. And when we started at the beginning of the month, we knew that about $60,000 was already projected for us that month. And like, think about that, y'all. There was a point in time where I would have been like, are you for real? $60,000? Like, and I still feel that way. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at what we do. Like, it's just incredible. But I just knew. My point is, I knew. So, October, and I remember sitting there and saying, okay, God, this is the time it's going to happen. And I went into my prayer and I just was like, is there anything I'm supposed to do? And so, is there anything I'm supposed to know? Is there anything I'm supposed to be open to? Like, lead me. And so, every single day throughout the month of October, I am telling you guys, I just opened up and said, and what do you want me to know today? And there were some days I posted, and some days I was supposed to sit back and rest and receive. And the old version of me would have been like, how can I make this happen? Find a way, make a way. That was just my motto. That was the motto I was taught. And this month I was just like, no. We are going to have the most fun. We are going to receive this money. We are going to allow this money, and we are going to inspire women doing this. There were things we needed to create and words we needed to say, but there was no striving for this. I was just unwilling to strive for this money. Okay. So we end up creating what was called the magnetic offer. And the magnetic offer was, I said, I'm creating an offer that you have to just feel the magnetic pull to. I'm not going to tell you what it is. And I started at 222. And I said, one of the things that I want more women to understand is when their emotional guidance system is telling them, lean in. And, our intuition, I've done an episode on this already, but our intuition comes to us in lots of different ways. Sometimes it's just like, I knew it. There were some women who emailed me and they were like, Kelly, I just said yes. And I want you to know, I knew before I opened your email, I was saying yes to whatever it was. So it was really cool for me to get to experience all these women learning to trust their intuition, saying yes to an offer that they literally did not know what the program was going to be. So as we released the details about the program, the price would increase. So it went to $444, then it went to $888, and then the program went to $1111. And then the full program was revealed, and it was called A New Reality. So all month long, we just had, y'all, the hypest, most celebratory energy every single day as we were like opening this product. I was on the phone with Kesley one day, and she was like, Kelly, all day long, I've been getting email after email. And I was like, you need to turn on the dings. And so while we're on the phone, it was like, ding, 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 all these women joining. And I was like, oh my gosh, we were having the most fun just being like, look at us receiving these amount of women who are just like, I don't know what it is, but I want to say yes. And it was so exciting. And so why this is important is because we ended up at the end of the month. It was, end of month was Halloween. And we ended up the last day of the month. And we had already known on Halloween we wanted to do a bundle special of 2 of the programs that I did this summer that if you've not gotten them, y'all, they were, the last few programs that I have done, honestly, since June. In May, I've got to do a whole nother episode just on this. In May, I felt like you have to cut off all your programs. Like what I felt like was everything has to die right now. And you need to pay attention to healing yourself around money, because I knew there was a next level of me that needed to understand, believe, and experience some of the strength that it takes to hold that level of leadership, hold that around that amount of money. And so I canceled all my programs for the summer and was just like, somehow we're going to make money this summer. And I actually said, I wrote down in my journal, you guys, we're going to make $150,000 this summer. We ended up making $182,000. And when I wrote that in May, gosh, I'm telling 2 stories now. When I wrote that in May, we had just canceled 90% of our income. I had no planned programs for the summer. All I knew was that I was feeling called to create this masterclass series. I was like, I don't know. I just know I need to be free with my time. And I want to teach women how to actually create like quantum leap in their life. I want to start to teach these women some of the things that have actually helped me change my life. And that's all I knew. So I launched this series called the Summer Shift Series, which is still available for women to purchase if they want to learn how to quantum leap, like take big jumps in your life. Then I got this download for E3. E3 was all about how the energy of an expansive business. So this was specific to women in business who wanted to really show up and magnetize online. And then I got this clear download for Conscious Leader, which is the mastermind. And I had become this next level version of me. So these were these 3 programs that came out in the summer. And then September happened. The end of September, a new reality landed. So here I was at the end of the month, knowing I wanted to bundle these 2 products, E3 and the Shift Series, on Halloween. We'd already planned for it. And I wake up the last day of the month and we're at $90,177 is I think what it was that morning. And something in me shifted. I, for the first time, told the world that I was doing this. I announced it to the women in a new reality. I had not told anyone, you guys, that I was believing for this other than my team. And so all of a sudden, I had just made this public announcement. And I think this old version of me kind of showed up here. And I was just like, well, now you have to make it happen. Ding, 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 ding. This old version of me showed up and was like, you have to make it happen. And what ended up shifting was I believe I absolutely missed receiving. I believe that morning I was aligned with $100,000 that day. I believe I was aligned with it. And the minute that I said, I must, and I started to step into that more masculine energy to say, what can I do? I think that's what blocked me. And so I want to tell you a couple of lessons. What ended up happening that day, just by the way, we ended up making $2,000 extra. So we ended up with over $92,000 for the month. And I want to take a moment to just tell you the next day after we didn't hit that goal. And the next day I sat and reflected on it because I had a lot of feelings coming up. And I was really proud of myself because I actually cleared my calendar. I was supposed to record a podcast. I was supposed to have my mastermind. And I knew that I was not, I always say I'm not fit for consumption right now, meaning no one should consume me. I should not consume the world. I'm not fit for consumption. So I canceled my calendar and I just spent time with myself. And then Kesley and I went out to dinner that night. I had planned the dinner to be a celebratory dinner for us hitting 100K and we didn't do it. So you can imagine if you're someone who is a recovering hyperachiever or people pleaser, like these little saboteurs are showing up in my mind like, you suck. But I've come into a loving, self-reflecting, conscious relationship with myself. And I said, okay, I'm not going to hide from this. I'm going to be with all these uncomfortable feelings that are sitting here because I need to understand what happened. I knew that morning, y'all, I even wrote it in my journal. I wrote, today's the day. And then something shifted. So I want to tell you a couple of the lessons that I have now reflected on that I believe are the reason I did not receive the finishing of that manifestation. And I want to tell you what was so cool for me that shifted, that shows me how much I've grown. There's an old version of me that if I had not hit the goal, I would be unsuccessful. And that's not how I felt. I felt total gratitude for the I'm sorry, can we just sit for a second? $92,000 in a month. Like, I remember my first client who was paying me $5K and it was over 4 months. And I was like, I made $1,000 this month. Like, I'm so proud of myself. Like the fact that I just made $90,000 in revenue in 1 month, following my intuition, being myself, building this aligned and authentic business always caring for myself and for my team. Like, to the best of my conscious ability, I do this out of integrity. And like, that's incredible that you can actually trust yourself and build a successful and financially abundant business. Like, when I tell you guys I'm here to help you have aligned, authentic, and abundant businesses, I'm not even kidding. So I had this moment of such gratitude, but at the same moment I'm holding this gratitude, there was these negative feelings. And so I had to like deep dive in them and deal with them and say, what are you about? What are you here to tell me? Because I knew that there were lessons to learn, and I knew that something had shifted in me, and that's what I want to walk you through right now. So if you're watching the video, I literally wrote on a sticky note my takeaways. So I'm going to read them to you. Okay. One of the first lessons I learned, so I was sitting with Kesley at dinner that night, and the first lesson I learned is that we all manifest differently. There are two types of manifestors, two types of ways that we manifest. One is specific and one is non-specific. And if you have gotten your blueprint book from Erin Claire Jones that I've recommended, another cool app that you can get is called My Human Design, and you can plug that in and you'll find out what kind of manifesting works best for you. And so no wonder my whole life when I was in my former business, when I would try to make a way by like setting clear goals, I was constantly a loser in my mind if I set up 10 people were going to join my team and only 9 did. It did not work for me. Being specific was like not my jam. Well, come to find out, I am what's called a non-specific manifester, which means all I need to do is feel it. The vague is fine with me as long as I know where I'm vaguely headed and I go, universe, you make it better. God, you make it better. Holy Spirit, lead me, you make it better. But here's where I know I'm headed. And as long as I feel it, I'm on my way to making it a reality. But I have other friends who are specific. They are clear. These are the exact knobs I want on my cabinets in this kitchen with this window and this thing, and they are meant to manifest specifically. So I am not that. And I didn't really know that until actually just recently. But when I thought back, Kesley and I were at dinner that night, still just reflecting on, like, we sat there in awe. We just laughed. We were just like, what? Look at our lives. Look at what we've done in the last few years. Like, if we had known we were going to be talking about this stuff when we started, we would have quit. Like, we just really reflected. And I said, what's interesting? I said, this was the first moment in our entire career together that I've ever felt like I set a number specific goal. I said, I've never done that. And she said, oh, that's funny. I do it all the time. And I believe she's a specific manifestor. She is good with specifics. And I said, well, I'm glad you never told me that, because she would say, like, I hope, 30 people join this program. And it's almost like she would say that for herself, but I was never attached to those outcomes. I would put sticky notes on the wall, when people joined, but I never was like, there's 15 people who are joining. I was just like, yay, number 2 joined and number 3. I just celebrated what was happening along the way. So I said, Kesley, this was the first time that I've set a specific goal in our entire career. And I think it's interesting that we missed it. Because all of a sudden I made this quota, this number that if it's not this, I didn't do it. I'm not successful. And I've never done that before. And so the first lesson I learned that I want to share to you all is those 2 resources. Like, go get the blueprint book. It is an investment worth having to understand yourself. That app, the My Human Design app, understand which way is best for you to manifest, because when you work by your own design, we each have our own design. This is why the way someone else does it doesn't work. It's why even when I tell you these lessons, I have to tell you, you may be different than me, because it's important you find out for yourself what is right for you. So that was lesson number 1. And when I looked back at my history, one of the biggest things I ever manifested in my network marketing career was a top trip to Hawaii. And I'll never forget making a post, and it was me with this white robe, and I'm standing on my balcony overlooking the Hawaiian water with these Hawaiian palm trees, and the sun is rising behind me. And I had my husband take a picture, and my words when I wrote that post was, I've seen this view a million times in my mind. Y'all, no wonder I manifested that trip. I had tried to earn a top trip with the company for 3 years in a row and had missed it. That like actually tried to do it, missed it twice. So the time that I earned it, I wasn't worried about dollars. I was worried. What I cared about was being there with my husband and how we would feel. And I saw myself in this white robe, and I saw him having the time of his life, and I saw him thanking me, and I saw him telling me he was proud of me. And I had gone all the way through this vision of this feeling. And so every day I would wake up and think about the feeling of what it's going to be like when I get to that moment. And when I was there, that post poured out of me because I was like, I've seen this a million times. I have memorized this moment in my mind. So I'm a non-specific. You've got to find out which, type of manifesting, what is the best way for you to create your reality. Okay, that's lesson number 1. Okay, lesson number 2, I wrote down, miracles are held for you. And when you are a match and open to receive them, they land. So this is a cool story, and this is why I ended up having to make this episode today, because on Monday, when we didn't hit our goal, we didn't hit it. And then today, at the time of this recording, it's 3 days later, it's Thursday, and I've been leading the very first Kelly Brock Co. coaching certification. And today was our last day, and we did this closing ceremony, just really completing our time together. And at the end of it, unexpectedly, I didn't prompt it. I actually was totally caught off guard. All of the women started unmuting and thanking me for creating this certification, telling me what it meant to them, telling me how their lives have shifted and how they are believing so much more confidently for their future because of what they've learned and how proud they are of themselves, and honoring me with their words, thanking me for the ripple effect. Like, I was in absolute tears. And then all of a sudden I sat back in my chair and I went, oh my gosh. This was the exact moment I had been manifesting. So when I wrote down my dreams, when I dreamed about having $100,000 month, I actually was like, okay, well, if I got $100,000, I imagined what kind of level, how would I know I'm the kind of woman who can receive that money? And I had written down word for word about how women were on Zoom, unmuting, that there was a screen full of all these squares that women were telling me about the impact that I'd made on their lives. When I saw myself, you guys, as the kind of leader that would be making 6 figures a month in her business, I thought about who I was and how I felt and how others felt about me. And I thought about the level of integrity and excellence and authenticity and just greatness that I had brought through the things that I created to my clients. And I had imagined this moment in time that all these women were unmuting and wanting to honor me with their words, saying, you've made a difference. Here's how it's showing up in my life. So when this happened today, all of a sudden I sat back and I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually what I wanted to manifest. It was never the 6 figures. What I wanted to manifest was this feeling, was this moment. And so my lesson for you today is that moment was a miracle. That moment was literally the thing I journaled months ago on how I would know that I was the kind of woman who makes 6 figures. Was that moment. I said, that's how I'll know, this kind of moment might be the moment it arrives. And it happened 3 days later after I missed the money goal. The miracles that are for you, they only get blocked by you. Miracles are all around you. Miracles are actually natural. They are naturally occurring, and it's only our resistance to them that keeps them from us. And I think the minute, I think of it like an umbrella. Like, they're all around us, and we pop up an umbrella and it's like it's raining all around us. We're like, there's rain over there and that person's getting rained on with abundance and that person's getting rained on and I'm dry over here, but we're the ones holding the umbrella. We're the ones blocking. We're the ones putting resistance up that's not allowing what wants to come to us, that wants to drench us in its goodness, can't reach us. So I realized I did my own healing work over the last 2 days to just let go of whatever I needed to understand and to heal from, to forgive myself for, to have awareness to, like, oh, that's literally the reason why I missed it. Bink, brought down my umbrella, and today the moment came to me. My heart was so filled. I was like, oh my gosh, I had to unmute at the end and tell them. I was like, you guys, I missed this goal on Monday. And the exact moment that I actually was hoping to receive this like honoring and loving and the feeling that I wanted came to me still. It came another way to say you're doing it. And so what I want you to know is the miracles that are for you are held for you. And when you get into alignment, when you start to lower the resistance, the things that's blocking you from receiving it, it will come to you. Miracles are held for you. Okay. The third lesson I learned was, you guys, I have felt these dreams of mine so many times that I knew it when it arrived. One of the things that I teach my clients is to open up and step into the mental rehearsal or to the vision of their future every single morning and to feel it. And to then show up as her to the best of their ability every single day. And I do this in my own life. And so I have thought about, I have felt, I have experienced for myself what it might be like to have that experience, that level of honoring, that level of celebration, that level of love, that level of respect, that all of that. I felt it so many times. So because I have felt it so many times, I knew it the moment it had arrived to me. There are probably miracles that are arriving to you, things you have prayed for, but you are so unconscious that you can't even see them. You don't even sense them. You're missing them. Like, I want you to think about right now. Have you appreciated the car that you drive, the babies that you have, the husband that you have, the home that you have, the business that you have, the new website that you have, the health answer that you were praying for, the repaired relationship with a parent? Like, at some point, there are things in your life right now that you prayed for, and they are in your life, and you are not even appreciating them. You're surrounded by miracles, and you don't even remember that these are answered prayers. These are miracles. And so I have been so emotionally connected with feeling this version of my future and appreciative of my now and then. I'm so appreciative, you guys, every single day. I'm so grateful that I have a sensitivity to when miracles arrive to me. I was like, it's like someone thumped me in the head. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm here. This is it. This is the moment. I've seen it. It's almost like when you have deja vu, you're like, I've been here before. How am I recognizing that this exact sock on the floor at this place and time in this way where we were just talking about that has happened before? I have had that experience so many times that I have a sensitivity and a recognition of the miracles that are around me. So one of the best things that you can do, one of the lessons that it's just like, Kelly, this ish works, keep doing it, is to have this mental envisioning, opening up to your vision every single morning. Because I did that, I have such a sensitivity to see all the miracles when they arrive to me. And I was able to see it even when it arrived 3 days late through a program. I did not expect it to come through that. It came in a whole new way. If I had been specific, it wouldn't have arrived that way for me. But I just felt, I just know I'll feel this way. And then there it was. So there are things you're dreaming for, and the more familiar you are with it, you will be so aware of it when that moment arrives to you. And it is just so incredible. You're like, I did it. This is me making something real. It's like so magical. Okay, number 4. This one's a good one. Okay, I wrote down, the biggest mistake is actually trying to manifest money. Let me explain this. The biggest mistake I made, and again, this doesn't go for everybody. I don't know about you specific people, but for me, the biggest mistake I made was trying to manifest the money. We make a mistake when we try to manifest dollars because what we think is when I have that amount of money, then I can blank, right? So we really just want the money because of how we might be able to live, how we might be able to give, how we might feel a sense of security, how we might be able to be peaceful, or how we might be able to, gosh, if I make that certain amount of money, I'll finally get to be present with my kids. I'll be able to like go to their stuff. I'll be able to be generous with my staff and give them gifts and love them and appreciate them. I'll be able to have such an abundance of like women who are feeling honored and excited to be in my space. If I was making that amount of money. So the mistake is we think we need the money for what we really want to have happen. When what if we just need to dream and to manifest and to believe for just what we really want to have happen? I have had things that I have dreamed about happening that I thought I needed a certain amount of money to make in order to make them happen, and they came a whole nother way. I've been gifted opportunities, trips. I've been gifted healing in my life and in my marriage and opportunities, and all these things that I wanted have the ability to come another way. And when we say it has to come the path of money, we limit all of our possibilities. You picked one and there was 99.9999999 other ways that it could have come faster or easier. And so when you actually take the money dollar off, when you're just like, it's actually not about the money, I just want to be in that woman's program. I actually have a client who manifested me. And she is I'm so happy she manifested me. She said, I put you on my vision board. She told me this on the island, my friend Erin. She said, I have had you on my vision board to be my friend for a certain amount of years. And she said, I just knew that you were the type of person that I wanted to be friends with. Like every time I saw you, I just was like, I want to be her friend. And I said to her, actually, was in my coaching certification. I said, thank you for manifesting me, because I didn't know you. I didn't know to manifest you. So thank you for seeing me, because she is so inspiring and has changed my life. Like she, just being herself, I see the world differently because she's in my life. And so my point is, if I had said I need to make a certain amount of money so that I can attract these kinds of people in, I'm limiting myself. But if all of a sudden I just say, you know what? I just want abundant girlfriends. I want to have women who want to change the world and be impact driven, and that we're also abundant and we're thinking about how can we make a difference with the things that we're doing, and also let's travel the world together, and also let's heal together and all that stuff. I also manifested Erin because she's a match for all of those things. But if I had thought I have to be a certain thing, or the money has to bring me so that I can get to the place to get those kind of girlfriends, I have limited my possibilities. So my point is, you don't have to manifest the money to get what you want. Just manifest what you want. Just say, God, divine, this is what I want. These are my dreams. And if these desires are on my heart, I'm believing they're from you. And so let me be clear. I want to be this level of happy. I want to have these kinds of friends. I want to feel this way in my business. I know that I want to get to experience or accomplish these certain amount of things. You don't need the money to buy the level of life that you want. And that was a big lesson I was reminded of. I've known that a million times, and I was just reminded of that today. It was like, oh my gosh, I didn't need the money to feel what I wanted to feel. Okay, the last little lesson for today is we get what we are. Energy is everything. And at all times, you are always getting what is a match to who you are. So when I, for the whole month of October, was just saying, God, use me. I'm open. Give me a sensitivity to what I need to say, do, be today. When I was just open, when I was feeling excited about like, this is going to be the most fun launch we've ever had. This is going to be exciting. Let's celebrate it every day. One of my mentors says it was popping like popcorn. Like that's how I felt. I felt like every single day there was someone joining. There was 10 more people joining. There was 20 more people joining. There was 30 more people joining. It was like, how in the world is this happening? I've never experienced anything like it. And it's like, they don't even know what they're buying. Like, this is the coolest thing. So it blew my reality out of the water, period. So all month long, I held that energy of just being open to receive. And the minute that I shifted into masculine energy to say, what do I need to do to finish this goal? And I didn't even say it like that. I just thought, here's what I really thought. I thought, I won't forgive myself if I don't try. We're so close. But even that, I went away from my heart energy and I went straight into my head and I thought, mind, what do I need to do? And it's funny, throughout the day, I really didn't do a lot, period. I didn't push, it wasn't crazy, but I held an energy all day long of thinking, I need to be in my stories. I need to make a post on my feed. I need to send an email. Okay. So my point I just made was you are always getting what you are. Here I am saying, I need. Who wants a needy person? Like that, or push. If I have pushing energy, what am I going to get? I'm going to get pushed back, resistance. No one's coming. But when I'm open and saying, this is the most fun I've ever had, or I'm joyful, or I'm celebrating, guess what life sends back to me? More to celebrate, more to receive, more to love, more to be excited about. But the minute I shifted into this energy of like, what do I need to do? Who do I need to be? I stopped receiving. It's just so fascinating. The last point I'm making is we're always getting what we are being. If you are enjoying, if you are celebrating, if you are loving, if you are in integrity, you will get that in response. And if you are pushing and you are striving and you are needing, you will get that in response. And it's so funny. It was just the slightest of shifts, you guys. This was not a desperate energy. This was not even a conscious pushing energy. It was so subconscious. I didn't even see it for 2 days. I had to like really sit with it and be like, what shifted? And then I was like, it was the first moment I went from my heart to my head to say, what do we need to do to finish? And it was like, whether we hit $100,000 this month or next or the next, like, does that take away from how I actually want to feel about my business? And I was like, no. You guys, I'm not even going to lie. I feel just as joyful, fulfilled, satisfied as I did when I was first starting. It's expanded, but honestly, the minute my family's needs were met, the minute I knew we were safe financially, the daily joy that I get from just being like, I'm really doing it. I feel that every day, and that's what I want to feel. And so there are always these next evolutions of the things that I want to become or experience. But a next tens of thousands of dollars doesn't make me happier. I was just as happy when we made our first 5K. I was just as happy when we launched our first product. I was proud, I was aligned, I was excited, I was fulfilled. I am just as happy that these women today honored me in my coaching program as if I had imagined getting that love and recognition from finishing that goal, right? So I just want to tell you, there's so many lessons I've been learning around money. And this one was big for me. And it was so wise of me. The minute after it didn't happen, I thought, okay, God, there's a reason I needed to miss this. There's a reason I needed to, or there will be a reason. There will be a lesson that I get to share about what it's like to not hit the goal, to not get the thing you're dreaming about right away. And I just think it's so cool that the timing didn't matter, because as soon as I energetically aligned to the person that I really want to be, living the way I want to live, receiving the way I want to receive, giving the way I want to give, leading, creating, doing all that, today was that energy for me. And the minute I got back into alignment, I got the thing I had been dreaming about, which was this moment in time of women saying, thank you. Like, all that you're sharing is counting. If you guys have not gathered this from me, I am really honest and wildly vulnerable. I talk about things that, like, sometimes I'm just like, God, couldn't you have given me another path? Because I share a lot of personal things, and I do it because I hope to normalize for you, so that when you're in your own dark or struggling or doubting moments, that you're like, wait, I remember Kelly telling me this is how it was for her. Okay, this is just how it might feel to be a human here. This is how it might feel to grow in this way. This is what, strength looks like when you're growing it at this level of business. This is what, changing your world looks like. It's why I share these things. And so even now I'm sharing something that is so fresh for me. I'm sure so many more lessons will land for me, but I hope that these were valuable to you and were a deposit to you, and that you don't forget them, because I'm seeing how I blocked myself from a miracle. And then the minute I got in alignment, it arrived to me. So I hope that for you all too. If this episode excited you or inspired you, or you got any takeaways, please don't hesitate to DM me. It makes me so happy to talk with you all and to just get to hear what's hitting home for you all. It's my hope and goal. So I love you guys. I'll see you on the next episode. And thank you for listening. My goal is to empower as many women as possible. If this episode supported you in any way, I would love it if you'd leave me a review or let me know on Instagram. You can take a screenshot or tag me, or just shoot me a DM. If you're looking for any kind of additional support, don't hesitate to reach out. See you here next Tuesday.